Welcome, everyone, to the Overseas Famous Podcast. Kevin Owens, Matt Kempter. Today is our mailbag episode, so we have mail from actual fans, and today it's going to be a fun episode because we got our two G League guys, UC and Malik here, the future hosts of the Late Bloomers podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be kind of going through some mail. They're going to be answering some questions. We'll be answering some questions. And we got some good fan questions today. And the funny thing is, when we put this up and we said, we're doing a mailbag episode, send us your questions. Immediately, like my dickhead friends there was a text chain and there were so many ridiculous questions. And they're like, are these questions being answered on the air? I'm like, yes. And then it was just ridiculous question after ridiculous question. Questions like, if you woke up at a campsite and your pants were down, like, what would you do? Like weird shit like that. Yeah, there was just like the first one, what's your boyfriend's name? So that's kind of where those questions were going. And I was like, all right, we need to make sure that the actual fans show up with some of our questions. So Matt is going to be kind of running the show in terms of the questions. He has all the questions in front of him. I haven't seen them. We haven't seen them. So when the questions are asked, you'll get as realistic of an answer as possible. So we can kind of have that gauge. So we know exactly that this is a realistic answer to some of these questions. Are there any ridiculous? None of the weird friends I have snuck anything else in there. Did they, Matt? Are we all good?
No, none of your friends snuck anything weird in there. They're all legitimate questions.
Awesome. I like it. All right. Mailbag. First off, hold the fuck on. Let's go right into, UC and Malik, two G League guys. First year, both are, UC, you played in the G League before. This is your second year in the G League. Malik, your first year, both of you guys playing for the Skyhawks. First off, let's go into the experience of the G League because that's what we're going to be getting from your podcast, a realistic look at what goes on in the G League. So we were talking a little bit before, UC and I played in the G League when it was the D League and it was a grind. I've heard it's different, but you have heard the stories, correct? You've heard the crazy shit that we went through.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, I think it's a lot better now from the stories I've heard that the guys went through in the D League, and even like today, we literally had like a meeting with like the NBPA, the Players Association, talking about different pensions and healthcare and all the different type of stuff that they try to do for us these days. And I know, especially since the time you were probably playing in the D League, the pay's gone up. And they're trying to like really make it like, give you like that NBA feel. So the experience for the most part overall, it's a pretty well-ran league.
I remember my rookie year. You think you're going to make money, and a lot of my friends were just, you're playing professional basketball. You made a professional basketball team. No one knew what the fuck the D League was at the time. Now everyone knows what the G League is. But I was making $12,000. Now I didn't tell any of my friends that, like not a single one, which made it worse because then they all were trying to be like, oh, you buying drinks, we fly into Florida, like you paying for our flights. I'm like, dude, I made $12,000. Like I can't afford to even I'm living in my parents' basement, or you just didn't have the funds. But like we were talking about before, it's still, even though you fought for that chance that maybe one day you'll be on that NBA court. And I think that's kind of what the G League is you grind it out and you're so close.
So they didn't do house back then?
Did they what?
They didn't put you guys in like apartments and stuff?
Yeah, they put us in apartments. And honestly, we were in Roanoke, Virginia. My apartment was pretty nice. I had a roommate. That's what a question. Do you guys have roommates, or do you room together, or you have your own place?
Our own places, yeah.
God damn. Yeah, I had a roommate and they paired us up. The coach is like, all right, where's the asshole? And then they're like, Kevin, you go with him because you seem like a nice guy and you're not going to be like crazy. So you make sure that this person isn't out at 4 a.m. Now I'm like 23 years old, rookie. And there's this big dude, Chris Christopherson, from Denmark. He played at Oregon, and he was kind of crazy. And they put me almost in charge of him. Now we're also competing for playing time, and we're practicing against each other. That was rough. I didn't want a roommate. I mean, granted, I had my own room, but like we shared an apartment. You know, it was just weird. I remember I walked out of my apartment. We had a bathroom. I walked out. Some girl runs naked across. I was like, wow, that's fun. Not happening here, but it's fun for you. Good for you, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the fact that you guys, that is nice that you guys have your own place. That's a solid step in the right direction.
I feel like for like a few years ago, they still did have roommates. I think they tried to make the apartments a little nicer, but this is like kind of one of the benefits from post-COVID. So it's like COVID is like, nah, they have to get their own rooms. They have to be on their own on the road. So it's like, hey.
Oh, on the road too. The road,
well.
the road makes a difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the road definitely makes a difference. Having a roommate, because sharing a hotel room, that's
you
no
right
fun.
there, grown man, like, come on, what are we doing?
You guys had that experience though in college, like you were just sitting there,
college for sure.
Just kind of looking over, like, what are they doing over there? checking, make sure. So you guys both playing for the Bayhawks. The experience so far, you guys, are you 2 games in?
Yeah.
Two games in. How's it been so far? How do you feel like the competition has been so far?
I think it's been good. Yeah, I think it's been good. I mean, we played the Maine Celtics, they had like, man, probably like 4 guys, I think, that had NBA experience, and then a couple guys that are like on 2 ways and stuff. So they had a good squad. You could tell they've been like playing with each other for a little bit, because they just had like good chemistry. Like the way they were sharing the ball, like making extra passes, like knowing where guys like their sweet spots were. Like that guy Hauser, I don't know, they just always like found the right time to just find him and get it to his open shot. So I just felt like they were just good as a team. And you could tell they've been together for a little bit and they got some NBA experience. And for us, it was good too, just to kind of get out there together. We had our two-way guys and assignment guy come down for the first time. So we had no practice with them or nothing. They literally just jumped in the game with us. And so it was kind of crazy, but I thought overall, we had a lot to learn from it, but it was, we're getting better. Like we had a great week of practice so far. So.
Yeah, I think that's something people don't realize about playing professional basketball is your team is going to change on a dime. You're in college and your guys, you're with them, and in the pros, it's like, oh, this guy got released. This guy's gotten here. He plays tonight. Pass him the ball. He needs to get 20. You're like, oh shit. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Business for real.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Maddie.
That's one thing I learned in my rookie year.
That's crazy. It is a good time. You guys are gonna. Sometimes I'm 41, so having to kind of have that opportunity and like living through, you young guys who still are right there, who still have that shot. I just think it's so cool that you guys are right there and living this dream right now. So that's why when the podcast, like, it's just going to be fun to hear your stories, and my old ass is just going to be sitting there like, man, that's nice. Those were the days.
Man, me and UC talk about all the time. It's so funny how like things happen, because we're like, we have to have a podcast and share our experience. Like, it's just every day is always something new. So it's just cool that we get, we're able to do it now, like through this. And I mean, honestly, we're just excited. Like, the G League is a grind, but it's also like I feel like if you live in the moment, it's like fun. Like, I enjoy showing up every day, learning, getting better, and just grinding. Like, it's fun. Like, it's a grind, but it's fun.
It really is.
Sure.
Yeah.
The grind the grind becomes the fun. And I think when you retire, you'll look back and the grind was the best part, because you it's like you're proud of the grind. You're proud of where you've been. And I think that's a huge thing. Maddie,
For sure.
we ready to rock?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
All right.
Shall I start off with the first question right
First
now?
question.
How has the G League changed since its inception?
Shit.
Yeah, we kind of touched on that. I feel like it's just it's definitely become more of a respected league, and I want to say global kind of, because I remember the stories I would hear, like, first of all, some of the cities you guys are playing, Bakersfield, Idaho Stampede. I'm like, bro, what's going on? But they really it's now really like a junior NBA. Most of the teams now are like either in the same city or near the NBA team. Like we literally practice at the Hawks Stadium at State Farm. Like I think it might be only one NBA team that doesn't have a G League team. I know back in the day when it was the D League, it was only like 12 teams or something like that.
Yep.
So it's really just grown and become its own like entity, if that makes sense. Like it's an actual league that's really just right there under the NBA. So it's grown a lot.
How do you think that affects you mentally, having that practice? And it's awesome that you guys are so close. How does that affect you mentally, knowing that, you know, you're sharing that same space, you're sharing that same practice facility? Does that give you that extra drive? You know, those coaches are kind of floating around, you know, some of the Hawks guys are kind of floating around, and you're so close, like practicing on that floor. Does that give that little extra motivation that it would have if you're in fucking a high school gym in Roanoke, Virginia?
For sure. 100%. Like, I don't know, me, I always try to like pay attention to the little things, appreciate the little things. So like, it's literally like every day me and Malik will walk into the arena. I gotta pass our bags through security, walk past all like you can see like the Hawks court, and like you get that feeling of like, I'm right here. You know what I'm saying? Because you literally are. Like, I'm walking past like the locker room. We share certain spaces in the arena. So it's like, yo, I'm a few steps away from being here. So it kind of makes you like lock in and appreciate the moment even more, because you're literally seeing. It's like you really can visualize what it would be like to be in the NBA, because you're walking through that every single day, literally.
Especially with the Hawks, kind of on the run that they've been on. I think that definitely plays a role. You see that success, and you see these guys, and you're like the Trey Youngs and you know, the John Collins, and you're walking alongside of them and just so close to that dream.
For sure. Yeah, that definitely plays a part. Like, literally, this team was in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. And, you know what I'm saying? It just, you get that feeling for sure.
Go ahead, Manny. Yeah, go ahead.
Next question is, what country has the best women? I guess that's more at the, like, Kev, I think you can answer this one because you played overseas more, so you probably had more experience with the women in other countries.
True. I mean, there's like some truth to that, but like, I don't look like you guys do. You guys, you know, when like if you saw me playing, I don't know. I didn't know enough about myself at the time to like, you know what fucking attractive was. I was in a relationship, and I'm just like some dorky kid who's just like, oh, this is great, this is awesome. And I was just like a dork the whole time. So I didn't really like have tattoos. I didn't really, you know, I was just trying to grind and be in the NBA. I was just like just a dorky guy. I remember I grew my hair real long at one point, and I thought I was cool. But in terms of like the country, you said the country that had the best women. Yes. I'm going to say, and I'm just going off countries I've been to. Australia was ridiculous. Their women were ridiculous. Estonia is like a sneaky pick there, because Estonia, even though it was really cold, there was like the women were like really, really attractive, and they didn't wear many clothes for being as cold. Like, you would go to the club and like people were wearing next to nothing. You're like, dude, it's like -8 degrees outside. You're going out in that? And they're like, whatever, man. but I think Estonia. But I feel like I want to hear what you guys have to say about this question. Not only, and listen, you guys, relationships, but like in terms of, places that you've traveled, what do you think? Maybe not country wise, but like, what do you think, places, or just in general, do you notice the women in the G League? Or the G League, do they have girls that like are chasing you already? Are the girls like, oh shit, they're in the G League, like let's try to get this going? And listen, you can plead the fifth on this. I won't take offense.
I mean, you got it.
Like, I definitely have seen, like, I guess what do you call it, groupies? Like, I've seen at our game. Like, you can just, like, they're sitting there, they're kind of just staring at the, the whole team, whatever. And you see them, like, I've seen the same ones at both games so far. So, I mean, it's stuff like that. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they look at it like, oh, it's G League, it's, close to the NBA, whatever. I'm not sure. But, I mean, I'm also not single, so I'm not really out there. That's more of a UC question, single man over there.
Man, I mean, like all of us, we've all been in, like, even in college where they're just girls, they're trying to come up to you and stuff like that just because you play basketball, whatever. So I just feel like the higher you go up and you become a pro and you're starting to get seen on this page and that page, and most people have blue checks and stuff like that, it just comes with the territory. I don't know if it's in person or on Instagram, and it's everywhere kind of. So I don't know. I don't know necessarily about the countries. I haven't been to that many. I have been to Australia as well, though, and I did enjoy the scenery as a whole. I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah. Scenery as a whole was nice in Australia.
I think in Australia it was very similar to the NBA in terms of that groupie mentality. I think you had them at the game. And granted, listen, there you could be, I think, just being a professional athlete, but being a basketball player, you're usually tall, you're usually, in a good shape. So it doesn't really like matter what your face looks like. I feel like, there's chances for everyone, even though, you might look like me, you might still be like, oh shit, this girl wants to, like, she wants to smash. And like, it's because I'm tall and I play basketball. So I get it. And I get like people who hate on that and like jealousy and just like, well, it's because you're tall. And I'm like, yeah, no shit it is. Like, I'm not trying to tell you otherwise. I know exactly why these girls are chasing. It's because I'm tall. They have no other interest. If I was your size, they'd be somewhere else. Trust me.
At least you can be true with yourself.
Yeah, it's true. Like, I'm 41. Like, what am I trying to prove at this point in my life? I'm just like, whatever. Like, my success is a way bigger thing than what I look. Right. Like, beard's gray. I'm just like, whatever. Just take it or leave it. You guys, though, you guys got the look. You guys got the athleticism, you strength, and like this basketball player. I'm just over here just chilling, man. 41 and chilling.
All right, the next question is, who was the best player you have ever played against?
That's a good one. I'll let you guys tackle that one first.
For me, and I mean this seriously, it's always been my older brother. He also plays professionally. He plays in Israel right now, but like, that's, for me, has always been someone that's challenged me the most, give me the most problems, can never really, like, even though I know all his moves, can never really figure him out. And he knows all my moves. So it just, you know what I'm saying? You play against somebody over and over and over, like, you gotta really just be creative. But growing up, it's always been my older brother for the most part.
That's always the truth. Like that second team. Like the second team guys that you played against, like, used to be like, fuck, dude, you know the play. Like, stop. Like,
exactly.
This is like, you're killing me. but like they used to just play you so hard, and you're like, this sucks. Like I can't, like I'm going to go drop 30 on the other team, but I can't score 15 on you because you're
in practice. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Have you ever played against your older brother like in an actual basketball game, or just playing like in the like pickup and stuff like that?
Nah, we never got to play against each other. Like we almost did in AAU when my team would play up, but I forget what happened. We didn't match up with them. We played together though because we both have played for Team Nigeria as well. So we played together professionally, but never against each other like an actual game, just like pick up and stuff like that. We played like pro-ams and stuff like that. I think I had 30, he had 40 one game. We lost at the buzzer. It was crazy, actually. I don't like talking about that game very much, actually.
Malik, how about you? Who is the best player you've ever played against?
Probably Zion, just because like Zion is Zion. Yeah, I caught him at Duke, and like he's one of those players that he doesn't even like. He didn't need any plays ran for him. He probably shot 12 times, but went 11 for 12. Had like 28 and 20. Like it was the craziest thing ever. But me having to guard him, want to like take that challenge. Dude's probably like 100 pounds more than me. It was crazy. So yeah, he's definitely the best, like best player I played against.
Now I've told this story before, but the best player, and you know, when I say the best player I ever played against, it's a very loose term of playing. I was playing up on my brother's team. I was a sophomore in high school. I sucked. I was like just a big goofy fuck, and so I got in the game, and I didn't know much, but I heard the name. But we were playing Kobe in Philly. So Kobe was in, you know, he grew up, you know, in the Philly area playing for like the Sunny Hill All-Star team. And we were playing, and he like dunked on me, and I had no idea who it was. I was just like some idiot kid, and the whole crowd was like laughing. And I remember just driving home like, oh well. And it wasn't until like a few years later when I was just like, wait, wasn't that the guy? My brother's like, yeah, like that's the dude who dunked on you. I was like, holy shit, like that's awesome. And then as Kobe got Kobe, I was like, yeah, I got dunked on Kobe, and people are like, oh, nice. Sucks to be you. Like that's not something to be proud of. But Kobe was probably, it was the crazy, but you know, like I said, that's real loose term. I mean, there's good players. Like I played against Valchunas. He was a beast. I remember he was young. He was like 17. And he was playing for, was it Ritas or one of the teams in Lithuania? And he was a monster. He was a strong kid. And I was like, you know, 30 years old and like trying to bully him a little. And he was just holding his own. And I was like, damn, this kid is tough. And lo and behold, he kind of got there. So I think that was like the one where I was actually competitively playing against. Valchunas was good. Kobe was just like fucking destroying me.
Did you know back then Kobe was gonna be Kobe? Like, could you see it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was doing things that like he was very smooth with the ball, and obviously we all see it. I think his shot was more developed later, but he just attacked very hard. Like he just, I feel like I watch locally. There's a guy, DJ Wagner, Dwan Wagner's son. Yeah. And I watched him up close a few times, and just like the same mentality, like just that talented, but like plays with that Russell Westbrook kind of attitude, like I'm going to destroy you. And I think that was something that I remember just noticing and just being like, this guy, you know, there was just no relent in him. And as a sophomore in high school, you're just like, what the fuck is this? But as you grow up, you're like, wow, like that's what that mentality is. That's what it takes. And you don't realize it until, you know, some of these guys, it's like he had it as a senior in high school. He wanted it. And everything that pissed him off was just motivation to just be better and better. And I think that's just what made him Kobe.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
He was tough. He was skinny. Like he was just a skinny kid. And I remember getting dunked on And I don't think he was like not like I've gotten dunked on and like people have pushed me and then like or yelled in my face. And I'm like, whatever. Like I tried to block shots, so I was gonna jump. Like I always said, like if you didn't get dunked on, you're like kind of playing like a pussy. Like go up and challenge everything. Because if you get dunked on, you get dunked on. But I've also blocked my share of dunks and hard fouls. So I'm like, you always play that way. But I mean, people have yelled, people have screamed, but Kobe just kind of dunked on me and was just like fuck out of here, see ya. It's like, all right, I guess that's what we're doing. And back on defense. Skinny ass.
That's hilarious.
That's dope.
Next question is, what is the craziest place you visited off the court?
Off the court.
Off the court. For me, it might still be Australia. It was just so nice. Like literally, it was beautiful. I was in Brisbane, I believe, Gold Coast.
Mm-hmm.
It was just amazing out there. Literally, like I was still in college when I was playing, but I was like, yo, this is what overseas is like. I would do this my whole career. It was, and that's not the case because it's not like that everywhere. But it was truly like it was beautiful, and they spoke English, obviously. So,
oh yeah, I think that makes a huge difference. I was just talking to a guy from New Zealand earlier tonight. And that's what we were talking about. He's like, what was your favorite place? And I think that was, when I think of New Zealand and Australia, it's like they spoke English and people are like, so what? And you're like, well, when you live in another country and you're relying on a team and no one speaks English, like you're not really going out as much. You're not really doing as much, but when they speak English, you're like visiting, you're doing everything because like it's not an uncomfortable experience. It's like, oh, exactly. Sweet. Man, that's a good question. Craziest place. I feel like Australia is probably the same, or New Zealand, one of those two places.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta travel out the country, man. Y'all talking about craziest place I've been is Miami.
Miami is crazy though.
It is crazy out there.
Yeah, Miami's wild. That's what I feel like Miami, I've only been to Miami like 3 times, and like every single time, it's the same with Vegas. Like I've been to Vegas and Miami, and every single time was like very strict basketball timelines. Like we were flying in and playing a game and then like flying out like that night. And I never was able to really enjoy. I never went there with like, everyone and just hung out. It was always like a quick play, and I never really got to experience Miami. But I can imagine the stories are quite intense.
It's pretty crazy fun out
there. Yeah, Miami's a wild time, and I think, Malik, we need to that's going to be a good episode when we start getting you out of the country and experiencing some of these things, because I think it is wild out there. But UC was saying, it's not like that everywhere. There's definitely, Australia was unbelievable, and there's some shitholes that you might have to go to kind of counterbalance Australia. I think Kosovo was one of those for me. I think Australia is definitely one of those tops of places that everyone should want to visit, especially if you're a basketball player.
In Australia?
Say it again.
How's the party scene in Australia?
It's all night.
Yep.
Honest, they go crazy. I feel like most countries are like that though. I was in Spain and my teammates were trying to get me to go out, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll meet here at like 3 a.m." I'm like, "Bro, what are you talking about?" Like, "Yeah, we're going from 3 to 6, 3 to 7." I'm like, "Bro, I'm asleep by 12." Like, what are you talking about? But they a lot of places overseas, I feel like they party all night long. It's crazy.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a difference in terms of they're just like if they don't require as much sleep. Like some guys just don't need that much sleep. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I need a solid like 8 hours of sleep, or else I'm like not myself. So to go party, like even now, I can't do shit. But even back then, I still needed to sleep. And I know that there's guys, you get up and practice. You got double sessions, especially in Spain. Like you're going twice a day. That's
wild. One game a week, so you're practicing all week. We're gonna run around the little town village that we're located in. Like it's literally crazy. So yeah, I was not out like that, especially that year.
Yeah, I love the unnecessary running that went on with some of those European teams. We used to play soccer a lot. That was a big thing. We would be they'd be like, well, let's get the soccer ball. We're playing soccer for our first practice.
Yeah, that really like that was the first year like dudes on my team really thought like I had an attitude because I was like, bro, what are we doing? Our warm up, like there'd be like hula hoops on the court, and you have to balance and jump from this hoop to this, and like playing all these little games and like duck goose. I'm like, bro, are we pros or are we not? You know what I'm saying? And then I would just be like, I'm not doing it. So
they got on that crazy Dirk shit where they're just like, oh, Dirk would fucking shoot the ball and then like jump kick a wall, and you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, why would I do that? And like, well, Dirk did it. I'm like, all right, whatever, sounds good. If Dirk did it, I guess I'll do it.
That stuff, it would really drive me crazy. But, I don't know.
So the next question is kind of based off another question that we had, but it is, who's the best player you guys have played with?
I guess I'll go first. When I was in, what was it? I think we were in 8th grade at the time. This is before he got good, but Carl Towns, he was like just this tall, goofy, still wore the same size shoe, like couldn't lay the ball up. It was the craziest thing ever. And just to see where he's at now, like it's crazy to think about, but he's definitely the best I've played with. Like it's crazy.
That is a good one. Yeah, he's tough.
Yeah, he's really good.
For me, probably for a little bit in like middle school. So I played for like the Oakland Soldiers, and I ended up playing for like my right age group but for a little bit I was practicing with and playing with my older brother's team, and it was him, like a bunch of like future like McDonald's All-Americans, but Aaron Gordon was on that team too. And Aaron Gordon in high school, like I'd never seen anybody be like so anointed. Like you knew he was like gonna be in the NBA, gonna be like a problem. So back then, he was really like the chosen one back then. Like we knew AG was going to the league hands down, dunking everything. So it'd probably be Aaron Gordon.
I'm trying to
create a mixtape on Oakland Soldiers too.
His mixtapes were crazy. Like it'd be literally like 1,000 dunks per mixtape.
That's it. It was all dunks.
They would squeeze 1,000 dunks in like 5 minutes. It was crazy.
I always think that those guys that were kind of appointed very early on, and he's obviously an incredible NBA player, but like some of those guys, it's just like these guys get appointed so early on. You get to the league, it's like they're gonna get there, and then. Like, even I think about Dewan Wagner, it's like he was like everyone knew in high school. They're like, Dewan is going to the NBA. Like, there's no doubt about it. I was a senior. He was a freshman, tremendous talent. And it's just like, things sometimes like the weirdest shit happens. And it's just like they don't end up being like this superstar level. And I guess like there's so many guys out there that are like, this is the next guy. This is the next guy. This is the next guy. I mean, LeBron was the one where just like, I think that was the first one that I lived through because I didn't, live through the Jordan era. And Jordan, there's all the stories and stuff, but same with Kobe. Like, I mean, he was good, but you didn't know he was going to be Kobe. What was he picked 10th or what was that? Yeah, like so he was not. Yeah, it's like he was out of the lot or almost out of the lottery, and it's like you didn't know he was going to be Kobe, but I felt like I knew about LeBron. I went to watch LeBron at the Palestra when he was in high school, and I was like, holy shit, this kid is really good. And he became, the greatest. It's like, it's wild to kind of see that, but there's so many guys who kind of get that appointment. But I feel like I'm trying to think of the best player I ever played with. There's a lot of guys that I played that were really good. Will Bynum, who played for the Detroit, he actually was just in that whole entire like scandal with like the like money laundering and stuff like that. So Will, but he was a walking bucket. Like he got buckets and he just went. He was like a bowling ball. Like he would just shoot down the lane, and he was strong, and he would just hit you and then go and then put it up. And I think he was a tough tough dude to play with, because when we needed a bucket, you go to Will and he would get it. And I think there was guys I played with like that, but no one as talented as Will. I think he was something special.
Sometimes it's not even like the biggest name guys. It's like the guys you just like, yo, this guy is a basket. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it is sometimes.
I can think of some of those guys. Anthony Grundy, same thing. Just like I remember Matt Carroll. He played for Charlotte for a long time, and he was like one of the most ridiculous shooters I've ever seen. Like Matt played at Notre Dame, but he had like this little hesitation, and he was like fast, but he wasn't really fast, but he had this hesitation, and he would be up, and he shot the ball so high that like you try to get up, and it was just buckets every time. I remember just thinking like how hard it is to guard this guy. And some of it's just, you think about like those things where you have to, like you're talking about Malik with Zion, and just how hard it is to guard a guy like Zion. And people don't even understand when they're just watching the game. They're like, oh, whatever. And they're, talking about his weight and shit. And you're like, you don't know how hard this guy is to guard. And I think it's like just something people lost on a lot of people.
Yeah.
Next question is, have you guys ever played with a former college teammate in the pros or against a former college teammate?
Yeah, I definitely did. It was like my rookie year. So right after my senior year of college, played against my roommate from college and my teammate in Spain. It was later like the next season, we were both in Spain, both same league, and we played against each other. It was a fun game too. We played against them twice a year. And then also one of my teammates from college, well, it wasn't against me, but we played together. We were in camp for Team Nigeria as well. He was also Nigerian. So those are probably the two guys I played with post-college.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing about all sports, but basketball especially, is like it's such a small world. Yeah. Like no matter where you go, even guys that go overseas, like you're gonna run into somebody that you either know or you played against. And I think that's the greatest thing about the sport. And like for me, we played against a guy last week. His name's Quade Green. He was on the Celtics. Me and him played on the same AAU team. Like it's just crazy. I haven't talked to him in like that was probably like 6 years. And then you just see him, you're like, oh, it's like you were just playing AU together. It's crazy. You just never know who you're gonna run into, like old teammate, whatever.
The small world is so true. I mean, there's so many guys, and you're just like, hold up, like you go to a different country and you're playing, you're like, hold up, like this motherfucker played in this team like last year in a different like other country, and it's just like it is a small world. And you see the same people, especially if you're like locally, like everyone knows, especially like from that Philly area, like all the Philly guys. If you're Chicago, all the Chicago guys, because you're gonna at some point play some pickup or something together. It's because there's only like so many pro workouts in an area that you're gonna get into, so you're gonna see the same guys. So you end up kind of becoming friends, and then you're bouncing around and playing against them in different countries, and like, holy shit, like this is crazy. But it really is a small community, and it really is like a brotherhood of just you guys, you kind of stick together, especially the Americans. Like you're over in other countries and you're just like, yo, what are you doing? Like, I need some American people.
Automatically, as soon as like you're shaking hands after the game, it's like you've known each other. Like it's just seeing another American, like, yo, bro, how is it? Hey, it's tough over here, bro. Me too. Like literally every time after the game overseas, it was like that. It's really crazy.
And I'm gonna throw like some real egotistical shit out there, but so I went to Monmouth, which is a smaller Division I school, and we were kind of on the rise. Like as I graduated, we'd gone to the NCAA tournament, and we started. The program was really being built. So I was one of the, there was a few guys before me who had like dual citizenship, but I was one of the first, like full-on Americans to kind of play professionally overseas. Like I was like one of the pioneers, and we've had a lot of guys since then. So I never really played against a teammate or anything because I was kind of that first one going through. I played against guys I played in college and stuff like that, but never a teammate of mine. And I always thought about, like, you know, you're a small school guy and you come out and you're like, oh shit, like everyone's kind of the same now. You know, it's like, you know, where you went to school no longer matters. I always thought that was pretty cool. When you start going, you're like, oh, fuck it. Like that was intimidating at a time. And you're like, oh, you played at Duke. And, you know, 2 years later, I'm like, oh, you played at Duke. I'm starting over you. Like, let's go. Like, I don't care. You don't play there anymore.
Literally. That's what happens. Every level is like that. It's like that going from high school to college, too, because some guys come from, like, some of these top prep schools and blah, blah, blah. They come to college like, bro, you're not sniffing the floor. You know what I mean? It's like but that's like every level you go up, like, you start from scratch. Like, literally, as long as you make it to that next level, it's like, all right, like now you got to prove yourself all over again. And it's like that, especially in the G League. In the G League, you might have somebody from a big school who got drafted who still has to come down to the G League. So you're like, it's a whole nother level. Like, yeah, he was even a draft pick, but he's still like here and we're about to compete, like, regardless. So that's how it is. And I love it like that because it just is. At that point, it's definitely still politics that are involved in the G League, NBA, all that, professionally, wherever. But it's still like you're just competing. All right, like I don't care about anything else. It's me, you, and this basketball, and we're gonna see who's really better.
Malik, speak on that politics. I feel like you got. I saw you. Your eyes light up. I'm like, yep, because I totally agree.
It's definitely political. I mean, just from being here for the last, like, 3 weeks now, you see, maybe, I think we're going on the 4th week, actually. And you could just see it from the first day we got there. Like, no matter how, like, talented you are or how well you play, they have to play guys or have to start guys that are two ways or guys that are, you know, players that come down to play with us. Like, it's the business. And I think the cool thing is that our coaches have been very open with us and they've been very encouraging. So they're like, look, man, like, you're doing everything you're supposed to do, but this is just how it is. You know what I mean? Like, you have no control that can control what you can control. So that, like, in itself, especially for me, like being my first time as a pro, is just learning that, because I never, you know, you kind of deal with it in college and high school, but in high school, I was, you know, the guy on my team. And in college, for the most part, I was like one of the top 2 guys. So it's like, you're kind of like, the politics are in your favor, I guess. But now that you're in a pro atmosphere, like UC said, it's like starting over. So it's just crazy to kind of go through that and learn, like, it's more political than anything. So, but at the same time, it also humbles you. And it kind of forces you and motivates you to work even harder so that you can get in that position.
Right. I always remembered I was, you know, 26 and you're, you know, kind of working out with an NBA team, and I'm going against these guys, and granted they're like 19 years old, and I'm like, I'm better than them. But then you're like, well, I'm 26. Like, they're 19. They're going to be, when they're 26, they'll be a lot better than me. But I always said, like, you know, people always talk about the NBA, like the best players in the world are in the NBA. And you're like, not always necessarily. Like, there's guys who are better, but they don't have that potential because they might be maxed at, you know, like 26 or 27. This guy's 19, but you put that 26-year-old against that 19-year-old, he's going to work him right now. And I think, like you were saying about the G League, you have these guys come down, and you're like, I know they have to play, but I'm giving them buckets of practice, and you're like, whatever, you know, this is just, you have to kind of deal with that bullshit politics.
Yeah, it's tough.
Go ahead, you see.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, it's definitely tough. But like, even our coaches spoke on it. It's like, this is just like a big part of like being a pro, and understanding that it's probably going to be political, but can you still work hard and stay locked in regardless of it? Can you still improve? Can you still find ways to impact the team and stuff like that? And like Malik said, it definitely humbles you. And like, it's like, all right, well, maybe I need to just take my game to another level and another level. So it's just, I think some guys get lost in like, or frustrated, like, man, why am I not playing like da 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 da? This guy's doing that. But when you can just accept it for what it is and work around it and work past it, I think it like good things come from it, because it really allows you to just focus on improving and like it gets you in the right mind frame when you can just humble yourself and just get back to just becoming the best player you can be and waiting on your moment and being patient.
Yeah, patience is definitely huge. Especially in the G League, you kind of have to have that patience. You have to have that you got to kind of put that ego aside and be like, fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're here for something. It's my turn's coming, and just kind of keep grinding.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
We got anything else, Matt?
Yep, this is the last question.
Okay.
What college gym had the best atmosphere?
Ooh, that's tough. Matt, that's a tough question right there.
No, mine for sure.
Oh, man.
Mine for sure, 100% Michigan State.
Oh,
okay. I couldn't hear myself think in that gym. Like, I never seen a student section. I felt like even like the old people were going crazy. They called it the is zone, like with the student section. Because I went to Stony Brook University. It's in Long Island, so we're like mid-major, whatever. I mean, like, they're Stony Brook. What the F is that? That sounds like a retirement home. Like, they're doing our names, like, for the starters. The whole student section, they like whip out like newspapers and they're yawning, and our coach is trying to draw plays. And shut the F up, Jeff Bowles. Like it was crazy. Even like one time, the Tom Izzo was trying to talk to the ref about a call, and the ref put his hand on like Tom Izzo's back. Don't effing touch him! Like, it was crazy. It was literally like, it was crazy. But we were in a game with them for like a long time. Like, I was hitting shots, and I was like, and it would get like kind of quiet. Some players love being at home. I love being on the road in those environments. I love quieting the crowd and like feeling that animosity. It just feels like almost like a fight, but that brings the best out of me.
I agree. It's so funny you say Michigan State, because we played Michigan State my sophomore year at the Bahamas tournament. You know, the one like the casino or whatever, not the resort, the ballroom. That's what it is. And when I tell you, like, their entire like fan base was there. Mind you, this is in Bahamas. Like, they had the entire gym was full of green, and I was like, bro, this is crazy. This is a home game for them.
Yeah, okay. They're not missing a trip to the Bahamas.
Yeah, for real. Like, they got the best of both worlds over there. So, I mean, yeah, Michigan State. I can't even imagine playing at Michigan State.
It was crazy.
That is
I can't
crazy.
I feel like there's been certain games where I couldn't hear. One was in Kosovo. The gym was like was smaller, but you know, it was so loud where I felt like my eardrums were going to burst. And I don't think people realize when you're watching on TV just how loud some of these places are, because you hear the crowd in the background, but the announcers are coming in clear. You still hear the ball bouncing, so you're like, it can't be that loud. But it gets wildly loud where you actually can't think, and I think that's something that the TV takes away. Unless you're there, you don't realize like what you're going through when you're on the court.
Did they have the drums and horns and stuff? Because my first game overseas, I was like, whoa, what's going? Like, literally trumpets and drums and stuff. Like, I'm like, bro, is this like a band? Like, what's going on? Like, but those overseas, when you hear that little bum, 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 that's really like a section of like 5 guys in the corner just going crazy
the whole time.
So loud. The whole game, doesn't matter.
Banging on the drum the whole entire time. I'm like, that guy's like in better shape than I am. He's like, gotta be banging the drum for like the St. Joe's Hawk, just flapping his wings. Like, that guy got his work in. College gym. I feel like Maryland has it tough. Do you guys ever play Maryland?
Yeah, I played in Maryland as well. They also called it a retirement home.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, Maryland's tough. Yeah. They're assholes too. Like you said, like they're just they say there was like a lot of just like animosity and like things that I feel like I wouldn't say to another human being, even if I was really mad at them. And I was like, holy shit, like that's so mean. Like people were saying such mean things. We actually played Maryland. We played them in college, but we played them again. Now the D League used to scrimmage against college teams. So our first experience in the D League, my rookie year, we played against Maryland, who was like a top 25 team, and it was packed, you know, it was their exhibition game. And they didn't know what we were because no one really knew what the D League was. They just thought we were just like some semi-pro team. And they didn't realize that like all of us played against like Maryland's and Dukes and stuff. Like we were fucking good. And they came in thinking they were going to like kick our ass. And we ended up, you know, beating them by 20. And they were so mad. Like they couldn't comprehend. They were just yelling such mean things at me. And I was like, this is wild. I was like, I remember going back and like kind of sitting on the bus and like looking at myself and being like, second guessing my decisions in life. Like, should I get a haircut? Like that guy was really coming at me. That's
how it is, man.
Yeah, some of those gyms, man, they have that atmosphere.
Yeah, they do. They got some crazy fan bases.
You guys are going to experience. How have you noticed the crowds have been so far at your games? Have you gotten like some decent showings?
Our first game, I felt like was pretty decent. It was a Friday night game, first one. So I kind of knew that it was probably going to be like a little more. But our Sunday game, because it was it was early, like 2:00, like afternoon game, early afternoon. It wasn't a lot of people there. But I mean, I like I feel like the nighttime games are always going to be like more amped up. So
yeah, for sure.
I think they'll get better as the year goes on.
Yeah, the D League crowd's or the G League crowd's fun. I feel like the places they like. I know the minor league baseball always gets a good draw because people want to see those younger guys kind of coming up. So the crowds are going to be fun. I'm just looking forward to. I'm looking forward to a lot of things. I'm looking forward to having guys to follow in the G League this year. You know, watch your games and you know. We'll listen to the podcast and how I love that you guys are part of this whole entire thing. You know, and I love the name, the Late Bloomers Podcast, which is going to be a lot of fun because I always said, like, you know, people always say that you have to be certain levels at a certain time in your life. And you guys are proving that, you know, listen, we developed a little late and guess what? We're still going to come in here and kick your ass. And I think that's just like such a cool name for a podcast. It's going to be fun to, you know, work with you guys over the year. And I'm really looking forward to it. And this has been super cool to, you know, dick around and throw some questions out there.
For sure, man.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. Thank you for having this through.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to it.
This has been fun, guys. We are going to roll out. We thank you guys so much for joining us tonight, talking a little overseas basketball. And we're looking forward to the Late Bloomers Podcast here on Overseas Fantasy. Have a great night, guys. Thanks for the mailbag questions.